now you've learned how to knit and purl. Now we are going to learn how to bind off, because once you get your project finished, you got to get it off the needles. One thing I wanted to just point out so that you can keep this in your vocabulary is the differences between knit and purl a row and knit all rows. So this right here, if you knit one row and then you come back after you turn it around and you purl that row, if you keep doing that, you get what looks like this, which looks like little V's, right? And this is called stockinette. So you'll see in patterns, it'll say work 4 inches of stockinette. This is what that looks like. It's knit a row, purl a row when you're going back and forth. If you see in a pattern it says to knit every row and you're going back and forth, that means your work will look like this. So you knit a row and you turn around and you knit that same row. It essentially looks like the same bumpy stitches on both sides, and that is called garter. So stockinette, knit a row, purl a row, garter, knit all rows. Stockinette on flat work. This is just working on flat, straight back and forth knitting. Stockinette is knit one row, purl one row. Garter, knit each row back and forth, and it looks like this on the front side of the work. So now we're going to learn how to bind off. Binding off just means that the same way how we casted on a row of stitches, we're going to get these stitches off of this needle and create an edge that's similar to, but not exactly the same as your beginning. So typical bind off, which is also called sometimes a standard bind off or a knitted bind off, is going to look like this. Fix my stitches, which picking up drop stitches will be in another video. We'll definitely learn that too. So when you're going to standard bind off, typical regular old bind off, nothing stretchy, nothing extra, you're going to knit your first stitch. So knit it and take it off. You're going to knit your second stitch, knit it and take it off. So now you have 2 stitches on your right needle, the rest of your work on your left. You're going to pick this stitch up on the back and you're going to pull it up and over. Use your fingers, remember. Use your fingers if you have to, but you're going to drop that stitch that's over here. You're going to pick it up and drop it off the needle. So over the stitch and off the needle. So you can use your needle tip to kind of get in there and just drop it off, over and off. That is 1 stitch bound off. So you do it again. Knit the next stitch. You're going to take your left hand needle, put it up underneath the back stitch, drag it over and off of the needle tip. So now you've bound off 2 stitches, and you keep repeating that process until you have 1 stitch left. Knit the stitch, right, as usual. When you have those 2 stitches, you can pick it up with the needle tip. I've seen people just take it, like try to use their fingers and do it like that, but I want you to get used to using your tools. Use your needle tip and drop it off. So knit. Pick up that back stitch, pull it up and over, and drop it off. Knit. Pick up the second stitch, pull it up. And we're not yanking it or anything, but you want to give it some space because you got to get it over the needle tip. and then you're going to let it just drop off. Okay, knit, pick it up, pull it up a little bit, get it over that stitch and off the needle. And so what you're seeing now is each stitch is getting bound off, and it's creating an edge similar to the cast on so that you can finish your work. So we'll go ahead and keep going. All right, so we're coming down to the end of these last few stitches that are going to get bound off. Remember, you're going to knit the stitch. When you have two, you're going to pick up the one on the back side, pick it up, drop it over and off of the needle. Just keep repeating until you are done. So that's my last one. Pick it up, pull it over and drop it off. And then you're going to take your scissor, leave a little bit of a tail so you can weave it in, which we'll do in a different video. And you're going to pull that last loop through and give it a little tug. And now you have bound off your work. So you have an edge at the top that looks kind of cute. You have your work in the middle. And you have your casted on edge. So what have we learned? We learned how to make a slip knot. We learned how to cast on with the knitted cast on. We learned how to knit a row. You learned how to purl a row. You've learned that this knit back and forth is called stockinette. This knit on both sides is called garter. And then you learn how to bind off.